So today I would like to talk a little bit about Social Security and the rumors behind what's going on with the new administration. So Social Security benefits this year, they went up 2.5%, which if you compare to last year was 3.4, and the previous years were even higher during the pandemic. So these amounts are based on what the government thinks that the current inflation rate is actually at, which in my opinion, I think it's pitiful because everybody around us can see that everything has gone up a lot more than 2.5% this past year. So to me, that's a slap in the face to our retirees who have been contributing over the years, especially right now when you see the rise in insurance and the rise in property taxes. It's definitely not enough to be able to cover a lot of expenses, even in today's world where people that have all their mortgages paid off, even then, sometimes they struggle to be able to make ends meet. Now, this cost of living increase will take place not only for people who have regular Social Security benefits, but also people who are getting survivors benefits and disability benefits. Now, for Medicare premiums, those are actually going up as well. So that's also another expense that will go ahead and hurt the total benefit amount that people will be receiving on a monthly basis. As of this year, 2025, people are slated to pay on the base amount of Medicare Part B is $185, which the previous year, 2024, was $174.80. So that's quite an increase, and every single year it's going to continue to go up. Now, these premiums, they are a deduction on the tax return. So a lot of people, when they file their taxes and they file for medical expenses, make sure that any Medicare premiums that you pay, those are also reflected as an expense on your Schedule A if you do itemize. And if you don't, maybe you are self-employed or maybe you're a shareholder of an S corporation, these expenses can also be taken as a self-employed health insurance deduction. Make sure that you check off that box if you are filing a return, because that can actually help you reduce your taxes as well. One of the things that Social Security Administration has improved as well are their offices. Now, right now, if you walk into the Social Security Administration, they might take you depending on whether or not you have a disability or some sort of impairment. But for the most part, they are requiring people now to make appointments ahead of time. This is to increase the customer service experience and to reduce the wait times. So a lot of times in the past, I've told my clients to just go into the offices and just get a number and wait, and they'll go ahead and they'll take care of you. But right now, they actually are trying to get people to do appointments instead. Now, one of the things that I do recommend for people as well is instead of going to the Social Security Administration offices, try to find ways to create an account on their website online, because a lot of times you can see all your history, and there's actually very good calculators there that'll help you determine how much money you are eligible for and also show your earnings history, which I think is very important because a lot of people right now in the United States of America, they are receiving Social Security benefits, and especially for those people that are getting close to retirement, it's very important to find out and plan ahead of time how much money you will be receiving on a monthly basis. One of the things that happened in December 2024, Congress repealed the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset program. These two policies have been in place for many years, and they affected people who not only were eligible for Social Security, but also worked at a place that was not covered, such as a teacher, a fireman, or a police officer. These people had their benefits reduced because of this provision. And also, you had people that were receiving survivors benefits or disability benefits that also had those benefits reduced because of these programs. Now that this has been eliminated, they actually made it retroactive so that these people that now qualify for these extra benefits can get them from January 2024 all the way to the end of the year, which means that soon the government will be paying these people some lump sums of money for benefits that they were entitled to. So be on the lookout, because everybody who was able to receive some of these benefits are going to have a good payday soon. There are a lot of rumors out there with the federal government talking about eliminating taxes on Social Security benefits, which I do see that there's a lot of people that are for that, but I don't think that that is actually going to be a solution. I think that there's other ways that the government can help people besides that. Now, the government is also talking about having people not pay so much into Social Security, which I don't think that the government can do both. Either they do one or the other. It's going to be up to the new administration to make the correct decisions to be able to help people. The way things stand right now, the government has an estimate as to when Social Security might run out of funding. They're saying it's somewhere around 2034 or 2035, but all of this can be slowed down or sped up depending on what the new administration plans to do and how they plan to fund Social Security. Now, how is Social Security being funded? Most of the funding is coming from people working and paying into the system. There's 12.4% of the wages that are getting paid. 6.2% is coming from the employee and 6.2% is coming from the employer. How many years do people usually have to put in to get the full amount of Social Security benefits? 35 years. So the first 35 years, the best 35 years that you have, those are the ones that are going to be counted towards your Social Security benefits. And if you do continue to work after you reach your full retirement age, then they will continue to readjust your benefits based on how much you make. Now, you have to be very careful too, because when you do reach age 62, if you do decide to take Social Security benefits, those benefits will be reduced up to 30%. So what is the full retirement age right now in 2025? People will have to reach 67 years old to be able to reach the full retirement age for anybody that's born 1960 or later. So this will mostly impact the youngest baby boomers and some Generation Xers. A lot of people are not prepared for retirement, and so that's why it's very important that no matter what age you are at, that you start doing everything you can to be able to try to save little by little, because things are just getting out of control. We don't know if 10, 15, 20 years down the line, this inflation might get worse, or we may end up in a situation where maybe the government will try to convert our currency into a digital currency. There could be a lot of fluctuations. Right now, we're living in a world where a lot of people that are reaching retirement age have also been stretched thin by helping out their children or grandchildren. Because there's a lot of people right now in their 20s and 30s that also are struggling, so they're reaching out to their parents to give them a helping hand. I've seen a lot of situations where you have people that are running into debt, and then they're running back to mom and dad to be able to help them out to subsidize their expenses monthly. I can name many situations where there's people that are living in different cities and their parents are wiring them money month after month to continue to pay their monthly expenses while they try to pursue a career that's a dead end. So all of this is stretching people thin. It's making them have a harder time to be able to adequately save for retirement. And then you have people that are actually losing their homes and they're moving back to their parents' homes. So you have people in their 30s and 40s that can go through a real tough situation where maybe they end up getting evicted, and so then they have to move back to their parents' homes that are probably 60, 70 years old, thinking that they have everything planned out already. And then the children move back in, and that's an additional burden that also can affect people to be able to have a healthy retirement. Not only are you paying for their living expenses, you may have to pay for their insurance expenses, and you may have to pay for all their food. All of that is making it even more difficult and more challenging for families nowadays to be able to get ahead. And sometimes what will happen is these people that move back into these homes, it gets very difficult for them to be able to prosper And sometimes they can also get into very heavy credit card debt. So what happens is the parents sometimes, they will have money saved up and they'll actually pay off some of that credit card debt as well, which is all unsecured debt. Those are expenses that didn't really benefit the family. It was probably trips, it was probably eating out, and it was probably things that don't have any substance. By the parents paying off all this credit card debt, that's also another thing that's affecting families, because even though you do get a fresh start by paying off all his credit card debt, the parents themselves now, they just reduce their net worth by that amount. So then what happens is the children are draining the parents' retirement, so that if one day they pass away, then they get less money for future generations. And this is all becoming way too normal, especially right now, because we live in a society where everybody wants instant gratification. These children were never taught how to be financially independent. Some of them had very bad financial habits, even as a child. And that could be reflected now, because right now in schools, I feel like even then in 2025, there's still a lack of financial education. Even in today's world, there's still a lot of people making a lot of mistakes financially, even with the wealth of knowledge online and with the introduction of artificial intelligence. It's still very difficult to find people that know good financial advice and stick to it. That's why it's important to pass on this message and to do your due diligence. Continue to educate yourself. I think it's very important that people learn to read and to understand financial terms and literacy. Next week, we will have some good content for you. Like I said, I'm going to be going with JB to Los Angeles, and we're going to see how these wildfires have affected these communities, and we're going to do the best that we can to be able to help people out that day and give our time and our effort and our donations to the people who most need it. Now, I do see that there's a lot of comments out there that I've seen where some people refuse to help out California wildfire victims. I think that's very sad, because we're all human. Even if you cannot help out, at least give your prayers. That's the minimum people can do right now. Even if you can help out with just $1, whatever it is, if everybody collectively helps, I think that that is the best thing that humanity can do. Because even like in my case, where I'm in California, I still help out people on the other side of the United States in areas like Tennessee and North Carolina. So we're all humans. We're all in this earth, and we all should be treated equally. I'm going to go ahead and leave this video here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.